worse than trans fats. In this video, I'm going to reveal the ingredient that's killing your heart. You might be wrecking your heart without even realizing it. Many believe that the major enemy of cardiovascular health is trans fat. But what if I told you there are even worse ingredients that you consume every day without noticing? In this video, I'll unveil the 17 most dangerous foods and ingredients for your heart. These are common foods that seem harmless but could be raising your blood pressure, clogging your arteries, and even speeding up the risk of a silent heart attack. And the worst part, the deadliest ingredient of all might be right there on your table now. Did you know that there are healthy versions of foods that are actually deadly traps for your heart? That certain spices and preservatives could be sabotaging your health without your knowledge? With each chapter of this video, we'll debunk myths and show you the truth behind the worst ingredients for your heart. And at the end, we'll reveal the most lethal one of all. If you care about your health and want to live longer and better, watch until the end and find out which foods you need to urgently avoid. Come with me. Number 17. Table salt. Table salt is one of the most common ingredients in meals, but it's also one of the most dangerous for the heart when consumed in excess. The main issue is sodium, which causes the body to retain fluids and overloads the circulatory system. This increase in fluid retention raises blood pressure, forcing the heart to work harder to pump blood. Over time, this overload can lead to chronic hypertension, one of the main risk factors for heart attacks and strokes. Even though salt is essential for the body, its consumption needs to be balanced to avoid severe complications. Another danger of refined table salt is its composition. It undergoes industrial processes that remove beneficial minerals and add chemicals to prevent caking. Unlike sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, refined salt loses natural nutrients during processing. Thus, in addition to being a villain for blood pressure, it offers no extra health benefits. What seems like a simple pinch could actually be sabotaging your well-being without you realizing it. The impact of excessive salt in the diet goes beyond hypertension. Studies show that high-sodium diets can damage blood vessels and harden arteries, making it harder for the heart to pump blood. This process, called atherosclerosis, is one of the biggest contributors to cardiovascular disease. And the worst part is that the negative effects don't appear immediately, but accumulate over the years. This means that small daily choices could be silently undermining your health. Reducing salt in your diet doesn't mean giving up flavor. There are many ways to replace salt without compromising the enjoyment of meals. Fresh herbs, natural spices, and lemon are excellent alternatives for seasoning foods without increasing the sodium load. Moreover, avoiding ultra-processed products already makes a big difference, as they contain absurd amounts of hidden salt. The less industrially processed food you consume, the more control you'll have over the actual amount of salt ingested. An effective strategy to reduce salt consumption is to gradually adapt the palate. Studies indicate that taste buds adjust over time, meaning if you start reducing salt little by little, your body will get used to the new flavor in a few weeks. This means you can reprogram your taste to enjoy less salty foods without missing the excessive seasoning. The secret is to make progressive changes, not radical ones, but consciously. Number 16. Processed meat without added trans fat. Red meat itself is already a food that requires careful consumption, but the situation worsens when we talk about processed versions. Even if they don't contain trans fats, cuts like dried meat, pastrami, and other deli meats are true enemies of the heart. The main problem lies in the high levels of sodium and chemical preservatives, which can raise blood pressure and cause damage to blood vessels. Those who consume these products regularly might be putting their cardiovascular system at risk without realizing it. The preservatives used in these meats, such as nitrates and nitrites, are compounds that can transform into toxic substances in the body. These substances are associated with a higher risk of chronic inflammation and the development of heart diseases. Moreover, the excess sodium in these foods can lead to fluid retention, further burdening the heart. This means that, even avoiding trans fats, these processed meats still pose a danger to health. Another worrying factor is the impact of excessive consumption of animal proteins without balance in the diet. When there is an excess of processed red meat in the diet, the body may have difficulties in eliminating metabolic waste, increasing the risk of inflammation. Studies indicate that diets rich in this type of meat may be linked to a higher incidence of heart diseases, especially when combined with unhealthy eating habits. The ideal is to give preference to fresh and natural meats without the addition of preservatives and artificial seasonings. Lean cuts prepared in a healthy way are a much safer option for those who want to take care of their heart. Number 15. Monosodium glutamate. Monosodium glutamate, or MSG, is a flavor enhancer very present in industrialized food, but few people know the impact it can have on the heart. This additive is found in ready-made seasonings, instant soups, snacks, fast food, and even some frozen products. The big problem with MSG is that it can interfere with the body's neurotransmitter balance and raise blood pressure, increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Those who consume this ingredient excessively may be exposing themselves to serious problems without realizing it. Studies indicate that MSG can cause blood pressure spikes in some people sensitive to this additive. Moreover, it can overly stimulate the nervous system, leading to an increase in heart rate. This is particularly concerning for those who already have cardiovascular problems or are prone to hypertension. Regular consumption of MSG can exacerbate these conditions over time, making the heart more vulnerable to crises and complications. Another dangerous effect of monosodium glutamate is its relation to increased appetite. This additive acts directly on the brain receptors that regulate satiety, causing a person to eat more than necessary. This can lead to weight gain, which, in turn, is one of the main risk factors for heart diseases. Excess weight burdens the heart, making its function more difficult and increasing the likelihood of developing issues like heart failure and atherosclerosis. To avoid the harmful effects of MSG, the best strategy is to reduce the consumption of ultra-processed foods and give preference to natural seasonings. Garlic, onion, fresh herbs, and spices are much healthier alternatives for flavoring meals. Moreover, reading product labels is essential to identify and avoid this additive. Often, monosodium glutamate appears under different names, such as flavor enhancer or hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Even though MSG is dangerous, it's still not the worst ingredient on this list. Number 14. Organ meats. Organ meats like liver, heart, and kidneys are known for being rich in nutrients, but their excessive consumption can be a big problem for heart health. These foods contain high levels of cholesterol and purines, substances that can increase blood uric acid levels. For those predisposed to cardiovascular diseases, frequent intake of organ meats can contribute to the clogging of arteries and the formation of fatty plaques, raising the risk of heart attack and stroke. The cholesterol present in organ meats is much more concentrated than in traditional meat cuts. For example, the liver contains almost double the cholesterol of an equivalent portion of lean beef. For those who already have high cholesterol, hypertension, or heart problems, excessive consumption of these foods can worsen the condition and accelerate the development of severe complications. It's a mistake to think that only trans fats are dangerous for the heart. Excess cholesterol also poses a huge risk. Another concerning point is the impact of organ meats on body uric acid levels. The excess of purines in these foods can lead to the formation of urate crystals, which can deposit in joints and even in blood vessels. This accumulation can cause inflammation and negatively affect circulation, making the heart more vulnerable to problems. Those who suffer from gout or have a history of cardiovascular diseases should consume these foods with great moderation. Although organ meats contain some essential vitamins and minerals, their consumption should be controlled and balanced with other healthy foods. The best way to enjoy their benefits without harming the heart is to consume them occasionally, in small portions, and combined with a diet rich in vegetables and fibers. This way, it's possible to reduce the negative impact of cholesterol and purines on the body. Number 13. Soy sauce. Soy sauce is one of the world's most popular condiments, widely used to flavor Eastern dishes and even some Western recipes. However, despite not containing trans fats, it hides a major danger for the heart: excessive sodium. This condiment can contain up to 50% of the daily recommended amount of sodium in just 1 tablespoon. This means that its frequent consumption can raise blood pressure, overload the kidneys, and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. The excess of sodium in the body causes it to retain more fluids, resulting in an increase in blood pressure. As a result, the heart has to work harder to pump blood, which can lead to the development of hypertension. Moreover, fluid retention overloads the kidneys, which start to filter blood less efficiently. This joint effect can contribute to long-term heart failure, making the simple act of seasoning food a silent threat. Another problem with industrialized soy sauce is that some brands add monosodium glutamate to enhance the flavor. As we've seen, this enhancer can cause inflammation and harm cardiovascular balance. Moreover, certain types of soy sauce may contain artificial colorants and preservatives, which contribute to inflammatory processes and increase the risk of metabolic problems. If you like the flavor of soy sauce, the best alternative is to look for versions with reduced sodium content or replace it with healthier alternatives like coconut sauce or natural herbs. Number 12. Fried chicken without trans fat. Fried chicken may seem harmless if it doesn't contain trans fat, but the problem lies in the method of preparation. The frying process generates inflammatory compounds and fat oxidation, creating substances that can be highly harmful to the heart. This means that even without trans fat, fried chicken still represents a real danger to cardiovascular health. When foods are fried in hot oil, they undergo a process called lipid oxidation, which creates free radicals and toxic compounds. These substances promote chronic inflammation in the body, one of the main factors for the development of heart diseases. Inflammation can harden arteries, hinder blood circulation, and increase the risk of high blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. Moreover, many oils used for frying, like refined vegetable oils, degrade with intense heat, releasing toxic aldehydes. These compounds can cause damage to the body's cells and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. And the worst part, many restaurants reuse oil several times, intensifying the release of these dangerous substances. Another problem with fried chicken is its high caloric content. It is often breaded and prepared with refined flours, absorbing large amounts of oil in process. This makes the food a caloric bomb, promoting weight gain and the accumulation of visceral fat. This type of fat is directly linked to an increase in bad cholesterol and the risk of metabolic syndrome, a condition that directly affects the heart. Number 11. Turmeric contaminated with lead. Turmeric, or curcumin, is widely known for its health benefits, especially for its anti-inflammatory properties. However, some brands of turmeric have been found with high levels of lead, a heavy metal extremely toxic to the body. And what few people know is that lead can be devastating for the heart and circulatory system. When regularly ingested, lead can accumulate in the body and cause a significant increase in blood pressure. This happens because it interferes with the body's natural mechanisms that regulate the contraction of blood vessels. The long-term effect is an increase in the risk of chronic high blood pressure, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Moreover, lead can negatively affect the function of endothelial cells, which line the blood vessels. With this function impaired, blood flow is compromised, making the heart more susceptible to problems like arrhythmias and heart failure. Contamination with heavy metals is also associated with an increase in oxidative stress, which contributes to the formation of fatty plaques in arteries. Studies have found concerning levels of lead in some brands of turmeric due to contamination during processing and storage. In some regions, producers even intentionally add compounds to turmeric to intensify its color, which can further increase the concentration of heavy metals. To avoid this problem, it's essential to buy turmeric from reliable sources, preferably of organic and certified origin. It's also important to avoid excessive consumption of the spice and vary the ingredients in your diet to reduce exposure to possible contaminants. But stay tuned. We'll still reveal the worst ingredient on the list. Number 10. Refined white flour. Refined white flour is present in a wide variety of foods, from breads and pastas to cakes and cookies. Its excessive consumption can pose serious risks to the heart, even though many people may not realize the danger it represents. The main issue with this flour is its high glycemic index, which causes blood sugar to rise rapidly after ingestion. This leads to insulin spikes and contributes to the development of insulin resistance, increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes, obesity, and cardiovascular diseases. When blood glucose levels remain high for long periods, the body starts to store more fat, especially in the abdominal region. This visceral fat is directly linked to an increase in inflammation in the body, one of the factors that most harm heart health. Moreover, excessive consumption of refined carbohydrates can lead to an increase in bad cholesterol and a reduction in good cholesterol, favoring the accumulation of fatty plaques in arteries. Another issue is that refined white flour undergoes a process that removes almost all its fibers and essential nutrients. What remains is a food poor in vitamins and minerals, but full of empty calories. This means that, in addition to harming metabolism, refined flour does not contribute to satiety, leading to excessive calorie consumption throughout the day. This dietary cycle can accelerate weight gain and increase the risk of hypertension and heart diseases. A healthier alternative is to replace white flour with whole grain options, which maintain their fibers and nutrients. The consumption of less processed flours helps control blood sugar levels and promotes better digestion. Number 9. Nitrates and nitrites. Nitrates and nitrites are preservatives widely used in the food industry, especially in deli meats, cured meats, and processed foods. Although they are added to increase the shelf life of products and enhance the color of foods, these substances can be extremely harmful to the heart. When ingested regularly, they can transform into toxic compounds in the body, increasing the risk of inflammation and cardiovascular problems. One of the major concerns is that nitrites can react with other substances in the stomach and form nitrosamines, compounds that are considered highly toxic and carcinogenic. Moreover, studies show that these substances can cause damage to the walls of blood vessels, contributing to the development of atherosclerosis. This process leads to the hardening and narrowing of arteries, making it harder for blood to circulate and increasing blood pressure. Another negative effect of nitrates and nitrites is related to the impact on oxygen transported by the blood. In some cases, these substances can interfere with the ability of cells to transport oxygen properly, which can compromise heart health and tissue health. People who regularly consume deli meats have a higher propensity to develop heart diseases and hypertension due to the combination of these factors. The best way to avoid the damages caused by nitrates and nitrites is to reduce the consumption of deli meats like ham, salami, sausage, and bacon. Giving preference to fresh and natural meats is a safer choice for those who want to take care of their heart. Number 8. Energy drinks. Energy drinks are sold as a quick solution to boost energy and focus, but they can be extremely harmful to the heart. Even sugar-free and trans-fat-free versions present high risks due to the excessive amount of caffeine and other stimulants. The consumption of these drinks can cause a sudden increase in heart rate, raising blood pressure and overloading the cardiovascular system. Caffeine in large amounts can lead to the narrowing of blood vessels, making it harder for blood to circulate and increasing the risk of arrhythmias. Moreover, many of these drinks contain compounds like taurine and guarana, which enhance the stimulant effects of caffeine. For people predisposed to heart problems, regular consumption of energy drinks can be a trigger for hypertensive crises and even heart attacks. Another problem is the impact of these drinks on the nervous system. Excessive stimulants can cause anxiety, insomnia, and increased stress levels, factors that indirectly contribute to cardiovascular diseases. Sleep deprivation, for example, is directly linked to increased blood pressure and the risk of chronic inflammation in the body. When the body does not rest properly, the heart suffers the consequences. Even sugar-free versions are not a safe alternative, as the effect of stimulants on metabolism remains harmful. Moreover, many of these drinks contain artificial sweeteners and chemical additives that can interfere with blood sugar regulation and increase the risk of insulin resistance. This creates a dangerous scenario for those who already have risk factors for heart diseases. If you need more energy, a much healthier alternative is to ensure good rest, maintain a balanced diet, and engage in regular physical activities. Number 7. Overly salted popcorn. Popcorn is one of the most consumed snacks in the world, especially during leisure activities like watching a movie or a game. Many consider it a healthy option, and indeed, when prepared correctly, it can be an excellent source of fibers and antioxidants. However, when popcorn is loaded with salt and ultra-processed seasonings, it becomes a real risk to heart health. The problem is not the corn itself, but the excess sodium and other harmful additives that many industrialized versions carry. The high sodium content in industrialized popcorn or manually seasoned with large amounts of salt can dangerously elevate blood pressure. Sodium causes the body to retain more fluids, increasing blood volume and overloading the heart. Over time, this can lead to hypertension, one of the major risk factors for heart attacks and strokes. Many people consume popcorn without realizing that they may be exceeding the daily recommended amount of sodium in just one movie session or afternoon snack. Another concerning factor is the artificial seasonings added to popcorn, especially those sold in ready-to-microwave packages. In addition to excess salt, these popcorns can contain monosodium glutamate and other chemical substances that affect the cardiovascular system. Some versions, for example, include artificial butter and hydrogenated oils, which, even when they don't contain trans fats, still contain high levels of harmful saturated fats to the heart. Microwave popcorn bags can also contain toxic substances in the inner lining. One of the most concerning compounds is perfluorooctanoic acid, found in some packaging to prevent grease from sticking to the paper. This compound can negatively affect metabolism and contribute to systemic inflammation, which is one of the main triggers for heart diseases. If you love popcorn and want to continue consuming it without harming your heart, the best alternative is to prepare it at home with little salt and natural seasonings. Using olive oil or coconut oil can be a healthier option compared to refined oils. Moreover, seasonings like turmeric, oregano, and paprika can add flavor without the need for large amounts of salt. But stay tuned, because the worst is yet to come. Number 6. Refined palm oil. Refined palm oil is one of the most used ingredients in the food industry due to its low cost and long shelf life. It is present in a wide variety of products, from cookies and margarine to snacks, frozen foods, and even some types of bread. What many people don't know is that this oil, when consumed regularly, can be one of the major culprits in increasing bad cholesterol and developing cardiovascular diseases. Contrary to what one might imagine, not all saturated fats are equal. Refined palm oil undergoes an industrial process that removes much of its natural antioxidants, leaving behind a highly inflammatory oil. This type of fat, when consumed excessively, can contribute to the hardening of arteries, reducing blood flow, and increasing the risk of hypertension. Moreover, refined palm oil has a composition that favors the formation of fatty plaques in the artery walls, one of the main factors in the development of atherosclerosis. Another problem with this oil is that it is widely used in frying, both in the industry and in restaurants and fast food. When heated to high temperatures, it generates toxic substances known as aldehydes, which can trigger inflammations in the body and increase blood pressure. This harmful effect on the heart does not occur only in fried foods, but also in ultra-processed products, where palm oil is present in large amounts without the consumer realizing it. Moreover, refined palm oil often appears disguised on product labels. Names like vegetable fat, hydrogenated vegetable oil, or simply palm oil can hide the presence of this harmful ingredient. This makes it difficult for the average consumer to identify and avoid its consumption, as is present in so many everyday products. Number 5. Pork chop without trans fat. Pork chop is a popular choice in many diets, especially as an accessible source of protein. However, even without containing trans fat, this cut of meat can represent a significant danger to the heart due to its high content of saturated fats. Although the body needs some level of fat to function properly, excess saturated fats can raise levels of bad cholesterol and increase the risk of cardiovascular problems. Studies indicate that diets rich in saturated fats, like those found in pork chops, can contribute to chronic inflammation in the body. This inflammation can lead to the narrowing of arteries, making it difficult for blood to circulate and increasing blood pressure. Moreover, the buildup of fatty plaques can cause clogs in blood vessels, raising the risk of heart attack and stroke. Another concerning factor is the way pork chops are usually prepared. They are often fried or grilled at very high temperatures, which can generate toxic compounds known as heterocyclic amines. These substances are associated with cellular damage and a higher risk of heart diseases. Moreover, when the meat is grilled until very dark, the formation of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons occurs, which can further increase inflammation in the body. If you wish to consume pork without compromising heart health, the ideal is to opt for leaner cuts, such as pork loin, and prepare them in a healthier way, like baking or cooking. Number 4. Diet sodas. Many believe that opting for diet sodas is a healthier alternative compared to traditional versions, but this idea is far from true. Although these products do not contain sugar or trans fats, they are loaded with chemicals that can be extremely harmful to the heart. The combination of artificial sweeteners, acidulants, and preservatives creates a toxic cocktail that can negatively impact metabolism and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Artificial sweeteners such as aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame K are widely used in diet sodas to replace sugar. However, research indicates that these substances can interfere with the intestinal microbiota and the hormonal balance of the body. Changes in the gut flora are directly related to metabolic problems, including insulin resistance, obesity, and chronic inflammation, all factors that significantly raise the risk of heart diseases. Another problem with diet sodas is their ability to deceive the brain. As the sweet taste is present without the actual intake of sugar, the body may react by increasing the desire for caloric and rich refined carbohydrate foods. This effect can lead to excessive calorie consumption throughout the day, promoting weight gain and, consequently, the accumulation of visceral fat, one of the main factors for the development of metabolic syndrome and atherosclerosis. Moreover, regular consumption of these drinks is associated with increased blood pressure. Studies show that people who consume diet sodas frequently have a higher risk of developing hypertension compared to those who avoid this type of beverage. This effect may be related to the impact of artificial sweeteners on the nervous system, stimulating the release of hormones that constrict blood vessels and raise blood pressure. If you really want to protect your heart, the best alternative is to avoid any type of soda and give preference to natural drinks like water flavored with fruits, unsweetened teas, and natural juices without added sugar. Remember that, even without calories, diet sodas can still be a silent poison for your cardiovascular health. Number 3. Industrialized balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegar is widely used in salads and sophisticated dishes, being considered a healthy option for seasoning foods. However, not all versions of this condiment are harmless. Industrialized versions of balsamic vinegar may contain a series of chemical additives, artificial colorants, and even hidden sugar, making it a disguised danger to heart health. One of the main problems with commercial versions of balsamic vinegar is the presence of glucose and fructose syrups in their composition. These ingredients are added to give a sweeter flavor and balance the acidity of the vinegar, but they end up turning the product into a hidden source of sugar. Excessive sugar consumption is directly linked to chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Another concerning factor is the use of artificial colorants to mimic the intense coloring of traditional balsamic vinegar. Caramel 4, for example, is a colorant commonly found in this type of product and can release toxic compounds during its metabolism in the body. These substances can cause oxidative stress in cells and harm the health of blood vessels, increasing the risk of hypertension and cardiovascular problems. Moreover, some industrialized versions of balsamic vinegar have a high sodium content. As we've seen, excess sodium in the diet can overload the heart, increasing blood pressure and promoting fluid retention. This causes the heart to work harder to pump blood, raising the risk of heart failure and other circulatory problems. If you want to consume balsamic vinegar healthfully, the best option is to look for authentic versions containing only fermented grape must and wine vinegar. Number 2. Omelet made with many whole eggs. Eggs are an excellent source of proteins and essential nutrients, but excessive consumption of whole eggs can be problematic for cardiovascular health. This is because the egg yolk contains a significant amount of cholesterol, and although dietary cholesterol is not the sole responsible for raising blood cholesterol, it can be an aggravating factor when consumed in large quantities. Each egg contains approximately 200 milligrams of cholesterol, and diets high in cholesterol can raise levels of LDL, the bad cholesterol. Excess of this type of cholesterol can deposit on the walls of arteries, forming fatty plaques and hindering blood flow. This process, known as atherosclerosis, increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and other serious heart diseases. Another point to consider is that many people prepare omelets using refined oils, margarine, or butter, adding even more saturated fat to the meal. This type of fat, when consumed regularly, can increase blood triglyceride levels and worsen systemic inflammation, contributing to the development of heart diseases. Moreover, the impact of excessive egg consumption can be exacerbated when combined with a diet rich in processed meats and refined carbohydrates. This dietary pattern can result in a significant increase in the production of inflammatory compounds in the body, raising blood pressure and overloading the heart. This doesn't mean you need to eliminate eggs from your diet, but rather consume them in moderation. Alternating the consumption of whole eggs with egg whites, for example, can help reduce cholesterol intake without compromising the protein quality of the meal. Moreover, opting for healthier cooking methods like boiling or scrambling without the addition of bad fats can make a significant difference in heart health. But we're not done yet. There's one last ingredient to be revealed that represents the greatest risk to the heart. Number 1. Light soy sauce. If there's one ingredient on this list that deserves the title of worst for the heart, it's light soy sauce. Many believe that the light version of this condiment is a healthier option compared to traditional soy sauce, but this is a dangerous nutritional trap. The fact that it contains less sodium than the regular version doesn't mean it's safe for the heart. On the contrary, light soy sauce is still extremely rich in sodium and chemical additives that can cause silent havoc in the cardiovascular system. Sodium remains one of the great villains of soy sauce, even in light versions. To give you an idea, just 1 tablespoon of this sauce can contain between 500 and 800 milligrams of sodium, which represents a significant portion of the daily recommended intake. Excessive sodium consumption leads to increased blood pressure, which in turn overloads the heart and blood vessels. In the long term, this can cause heart failure, heart attacks, and strokes. Moreover, people who already have hypertension may see their condition drastically worsen just by adding this sauce to their daily diet. Another serious problem with light soy sauce is the presence of monosodium glutamate. MSG can increase fluid retention, intensify inflammatory processes in the body, and even affect heart rhythm. Some people report palpitations and a sensation of chest pressure after consuming foods rich in this additive. And the worst part, most consumers don't even realize they are ingesting MSG, as it can appear under disguised names on labels. But the problems don't stop there. Light soy sauce may contain genetically modified soy and chemical residues from accelerated fermentation process, which is used in industrial production. While traditional soy sauce undergoes a natural fermentation process that can take months, the industrialized version is produced quickly using chemical substances to speed up production. This process can generate toxic compounds that harm heart health, increasing the risk of chronic inflammation and worsening the function of blood vessels. If you really want to take care of your heart, the best thing to do is to eliminate industrialized soy sauce from your diet. If you need a healthier alternative, opt for natural seasonings like fresh herbs, lemon, and olive oil. If you need a substitute for soy sauce, try coconut sauce or naturally fermented versions without the addition of preservatives and chemical additives. Your heart will thank you for every small change you make. If you want to continue receiving the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel because it exists for one reason: to make you a healthier person with more quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video now appearing on your screen, I reveal the 6 powerful fruits that cancer fears. Click on the screen and check it out. So, see you in the next video.